Hello, and welcome to the Lightworker Diaries, a space for reflection, truth-telling, and soulful remembering. My name is Tiffany, and I am a truth teller, a mystic, and a mirror. These are transmissions from my heart to yours, an archive of channeled wisdom, lived stories, and the real work of becoming. May something in here stir something in you. Hello, my friend. I am going to be real honest and say that I could not wait to get on my microphone today and share this with you. I was writing and realized why I have had this love-hate relationship with social media. I suddenly understood with such immense clarity as to why I have gone through these feast and famine cycles for the better part of the last 10 years. And also how I transformed it, how I shifted that belief, which has allowed me to create 57 days of joyful, playful, fully expressed, overflowing content. And I'm going to share it with you because I want this for you too. What came through in my journal this morning is that social media has become a form of external validation. This is, I think, especially prevalent for those of us who are recovering people pleasers, where we've had our worth tied to the validation of someone else's approval. And so when we go onto social media, we're expecting or seeking that external validation. We're looking for people to say, you did good. Nice job. I like this one. I like you. And when we don't get the response that we can get when we're just one-on-one with a person, it's a lot harder to keep doing what we're doing because our external validation, the reward part of the reward cycle, isn't happening consistent enough to keep us engaged. So we get angry, we get upset, we get defiant, we get resentful, we stomp our feet, and we say, forget it. I'm going to take my time and energy elsewhere. I want to share with you what changed for me. As I mentioned, I have been on social media for at least 10 years. And I've gone through cycles where it's been super fun. I've had a lot of fun creating and posting, but I've always looked at it as if the numbers aren't showing, nobody must like what I'm creating. So what's the point of continuing? And this morning, I realized that the difference between the way I was creating before and the way I'm creating now is I'm less focused on the results and more focused on the joy of the creativity. I'm going to repeat that one more time because I really want it to sink in. I'm less focused on the metrics and more focused on the joy that I have while I'm creating. I'm creating internal validation for the expression of myself online. And when I look at it that way, when I experience creativity from that perspective, no offense, but it doesn't matter if you care or not, because I am having so much fun in the process that literally content is flowing, overflowing into the world. I have a phone note that is pages long with ideas of things that I want to share. And if it becomes nothing more than a visual and audio diary that lives on the internet, that's okay. Because I had so much fun in the process of making it that it was worth it before anyone even saw it. I believe that, like me, you also have a deep and profound love for creativity. I think you actually love to express yourself in the world. And the moment that you disconnect that belief that someone has to respond to it for it to be valid, worthy, valuable, whatever else that external validation is doing for you, as soon as you unclick those two things and say external response is one thing, internal creativity, experience, joy, value, connection, creativity. I mean, listen to what I just said. External validation was 2 words. The internal piece was a garden of experience, blooming in all of its beauty. That's what creativity gets to be. That's what social media gets to be. But sometimes we have to go through the process of unlinking these beliefs about what social media is for so that we can create a perspective shift that allows us to move into this space where it gets to be for us. In just 57 days, I have created hundreds of pieces of content, and there has not been a single day that has passed that I have thought to myself, I just don't feel like creating today. Now, I've certainly had my moments where I'm like, I don't feel like creating this morning. I don't feel like creating this afternoon. But there has been a consistent creative muse that has came and knocked on my door every single day and said, let's play together. And I'm going to tell you, I have been watching the metrics, but I haven't been attaching my worth to it because I'm running this as an experiment. I'm doing the creativity for the joy of the creativity to practice every single day and get better, to explore what wants to be created through me in the different formats that want to be created through me. I'm not following any rules. I have fallen into the trap of a couple here and there and noticed it and kind of unwound the direction that I was going. But right now, I'm not trying to get it right because that's not the point. What I'm doing right now is building a habit that brings my creativity to the surface and allows my fullest expression, which makes me so fucking happy. And I'm using that as my internal resourcing to keep going. There are reels or content that I have posted that have gotten 8 views, stories in particular. That's okay. Maybe one person in those 8 had a life-changing thought, inspiration, moment of encouragement. It was worth it. I had fun creating it. I have reels that have gone into the thousands of views. In fact, ones that have very much surprised me. Great. That's perfect for that piece of content as well. But when I take a step back and look at the quilt that I have created, the body of work that has flowed through me over the last 57 days, I am amazed. Because from where I stand right now, I have complete and utter clarity about what my mission and purpose is right now. I know exactly what my message is. I know exactly who I'm here to serve. I know exactly how I'm meant to help them and the transformation that I get to deliver. I didn't have that on day one. In fact, on day one, I started with a completely dormant account, no activity, no content for several months. And I just decided I'm going to start writing poetry for the first time in my entire life, and I'm going to share it. That was it. That's what started all of this. I decided to embark on a creative project just for the fun of it. And as I continued to post every day, my poem, what I was learning, other poetry that was inspiring me, I started to notice myself building this momentum. I was wanting to share more. I was wanting to create more. I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, you guys, I just learned this. This is so cool. You got to try it. And in those first 30 days, my views went through the roof. From completely dormant to over 10,000 views in just 30 days. But I never created for the views. I created for the expression. And the interesting thing was, and this is what happened so many times previously, was I would sometimes get a little bit of validation. Some things would kind of start to get some traction. But I was like, nobody's communicating with me. Everyone's like, oh, to respond to all of your DMs. I'm like, who's getting DMs? Because it's not me. I don't get it. I must be doing it wrong. What I had forgotten is that there's a difference between a warm lead and a cold lead. And I know that's super business talk, right? It's the difference between a friend, an acquaintance, and a stranger. plain English, right? A friend you could probably reach out to right now and say, hey, I got this thing. Can you help me out? And they're going to be like, yeah, got you. Acquaintance, they might be like, yeah, I remember you. Cool. Let me think about that. Let me get back to you. Or they might also be like, you know what? You were such a great friend for me in college. Let me see what I can do. They know you. You have a relationship already. You've nurtured that. But if you were to walk up to a stranger at the coffee shop and say, hey, can I have $100? A person might laugh in your face and walk away. Who are you? Why are you asking me for this? So in order to build an audience, we're basically saying to the person at the coffee shop, hey, I like your shoes. Hey, don't you love this music? Oh my gosh, oat milk vanilla lattes are my favorite too. I go in every day. Look at that. We have something in common. Building an audience requires you to put yourself out there and let yourself be seen. Over this last 57 days, I've gone through phases where I was like, oh, sell every day. And so I was selling every day and didn't really feel like that was my method. It was just something I was doing because I was part of a program that was sell every day. And so I was doing that. And then I was like, but I want people to know me. I'm inviting people into a community where we're going to hang out. And if it was me, I wanted to know, am I joining a community that shares similar interests? So I started sharing more about my writing. I started sharing more about my love for travel. I started sharing more about Max and the fact that I'm a dog mom. I started sharing that I could spend weeks in coffee shops and feel so content. I started sharing more of who I am and what I love. Because like the example of walking up to somebody you never met before and be like, I love oat milk latte too, creates connection. Somebody looks at your content, they watch you pull tarot cards and they're like, I like tarot cards too. They see you out in the world on a hike with your dog, feeding your kids, whatever it is that makes you happy. And they go, I like that too. And suddenly they take a step closer. Maybe they like a piece of content. Maybe they like the next one. Maybe by the third, fourth, or fifth, they're like, this girl and I should be best friends. And then they follow. And then they're seeing more of your content and more of your content. And then they're telling their friends about you. Oh my gosh, you got to follow this woman. I just love what she's creating in the world. She's so happy. She's having so much fun. You know, it's interesting. I know my friend Julia was looking for someone who does Reiki, and this woman showed up in my feed. I just have to tell her about it. I'm actually glad that came through me because so many people think social media should be transactional the way a coffee shop is. You walk in, you ask for something, you get it, you pay for it, you walk out. That's not social media. In social media, you spread this huge net. It's more like fishing. You throw this huge net out there and you're going to catch some fish. The bigger the net, the more likely you're going to get fish. You throw out a fishing line with one hook, you might get a bite. You could be really lucky. You can get 4 bites in one day. You throw out a net, you could get hundreds, thousands. I share this with you because I believe there are so many people in this world who have heart-inspired messages, things that have been their lived experiences that they have grown through, lived through, thrived into, that are meant to be shared with this world. We all look to each other to say, is this possible? Roger Bannister, first man to run a sub 4-minute mile. People tried for years to do that. And many people just said, must be impossible for the human body to achieve that. But people did not have a desire to run a sub 4 mile. I don't know if I said mile or marathon. Mile. People didn't have the desire to run a sub 4 mile because it was impossible. They had the dream, they had the desire, they had the vision for it because it was. And the moment that Roger Bannister did it, several people did it in that same year. And now it's kind of the norm for very fast runners. Not for people like me. but it's possible. And all it took was one person to break through that and say, yo, guys, look it's possible. And then they go, oh, okay, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And then they did. And so I share this with you because your dream, your desire, your vision for a way to make the world a better place because of the life that you have lived and the experiences that you have gathered and the knowledge and expertise and tools and modalities that you have as part of your body of work belong in this world. Your dream, your vision, your heart's desire for this thing is because it's possible. In fact, not only is it possible, it's your destiny. I get it. I left corporate America 9 years ago. No plan. I was just going to see what came up. I was so burned out. And I took the leap and I said, I trust whatever shows up. And life coaching showed up. And so I got a life coaching certification. I started apprenticing with a shaman. I did that for several years. I started taking breathwork classes. I started taking, I got Reiki attuned. Like all these things kind of dropped into my reality. And I was like, well, that looks like fun. That looks like it's interesting. I think I'll do that. And so I started doing all of these things. But there were certain business skills that I just wasn't interested in because I had just kicked myself out of the business world. And I was so over anything business. I was like, I just can't even. It's too much. I'd rather play in the spiritual land and in this healing and life coaching and writing land because that feels like honey on my heart. And so that's what I did. And then I got to the point where I realized, no, I have business skills that I need to develop. And I could have taken courses. I could have worked with a coach. I could have done, a number of things. But where my soul led me was back into a corporate position. And I started doing what I had been doing before when I left. And then I got promoted multiple times. Pretty much every year I got a new title, moved up, team lead, director of customer success, director of operations. In 3 years, I went from a life coach making $13,000 a year to a director of operations, fully running and responsible for a $2.5 million fractional accounting firm with 18 team members. That is a quantum leap, my friends, and one that I never saw coming. Because in my head, I just wanted to run a multi-million-dollar business and I thought it had to be my business. But because I took the path that I did, I had the mentorship of an open-hearted, mindful CEO who walked alongside me every step of the way and taught me more about building a multi-million-dollar business than I could have ever imagined. He helped me through the hard times. He supported me. He saw the good in me. He saw the value in me. He helped me to lean in. He taught me how to communicate better. He believed in me. And I needed that more than I knew. And when the time came and I heard very clearly in my intuition that my soul contract with him and with my company that I had been working with, that it was complete, I knew that this work that I'm doing now is coming back. I knew that I had to take that detour through business. What would I even call it? I don't even know. I had to take a deep dive into business school. But here I am now, once again, returning to the work that is meant to flow through me, which is helping to set people like you free. I now have the skills, tools, and experiences that if this becomes a $100,000 business or a $1 million business, I know how to run it. I didn't have that before. And I had to take the path that I took in order to gain that experience so that I could have the kind of impact that I want to have in the world. As much as I would love to set one person free and be like, yes, that felt great, what I really want is to set millions of people free. Millions. Because I believe our world would be such a happier, more creative, connected place if people really got to be themselves. And I believe that there are people like you who have a message that also belongs in this world. And for whatever reason that you've been holding it back, keeping it safe, being the good idea mother that you are, you and I both know it's time. It's time to let your child, your mission, run free. And to know that it might get banged up a little bit. It might get into some trouble. People might not like it. And there's going to be people who absolutely love it. And you're going to continue creating for them because they're going to take your message and share it with a friend who's going to share it with a friend who's going to share it with a friend. And you're going to be changing even more lives than you ever realized. And it was all because you were brave enough to let yourself be happy, create, and share who you are with this world. I want to share something with you. And maybe this is for you. Maybe this is for someone you know. Maybe this is for someone you're going to meet. But I have created something for the ones like us, for the people who have a mission, a message, a story in their hearts that is meant to be shared. And whether that's a book, a blog, a stage, a caption, if you're ready to put the thing that you can't stop thinking about out in the world so you can start changing lives, I want you to come and join me. I have a community. It's called the Intuitive Writers Guild. It's for people like us who are here to make a difference with our words. And for the month of June, we are entering the content vortex. My vision for you is by July 1st, you have so much creative momentum that your cup is overflowing, that you can't wait to hit record, to create, to post, to share. And not only that, you're doing it alongside people who are doing it too. And so even if you still need that dopamine hit that says, is this working? We're going to give it to you. You're going to share your celebrations. You're going to share the things that you posted, the things that you created. And it's not for us to say, I'm going to interact with your content and make sure it makes something happen, because it's not that. Every seed that you plant has a purpose. And whether that purpose is to fertilize the soil or grow into a field of wildflowers, we don't get to decide. It's just like when you have a child, you don't get to decide what the personality of that child is. You might shape some of that personality by your interactions and support and love for that child, but the child's going to be what that child's going to be. The same with the content that you create, the same with the things that you put out into this world. Regardless of the purpose that it serves, it's still serving a purpose. You don't have to control it. You don't have to micromanage it. You don't have to helicopter mom it. You just let it to get it be. You sprinkle seeds like you have pockets that overflow with endless seeds. And every single one of them does exactly what it was meant to do. And it has nothing to do with you. Doesn't mean you're good, you're bad. You know what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing. You created something and you let it free into this world to become what it needed to be. My hope for you is by the end of the month, not only will you feel more connected to people who share this deep desire to improve the world that we live in by helping others to become the best versions of themselves in some way, shape, or form, but also for you to connect to your heart in a way that makes your ability to keep going undeniable. I want you to start that snowball rolling down that hill and grow it to the point that you literally could not stop it if you tried. Because there is going to come a time where you're going to want to ask people to work for you, work with you, both actually. Wow, that was random. There's going to come a time where you're going to ask people if they want to work with you. And when you ask one person, you have one chance of saying yes or no. When you ask 100,000 people, you have 100,000 chances for someone to say yes. I mean, I'd pick 100,000 people any day of the week. building your audience, sharing your message, spreading the word of what you see in other people and want for other people increases your opportunity of winning. People get all hung up because they're like, I don't want to build a funnel. Oh, I was there too. When I was coming out of a toxic business thing, the last thing I wanted to do was something so businessy. So throw that idea out the window. Imagine you're planting a wildflower field of your favorite, absolute favorite flowers. And every day you're going to show up, you're going to plant a few more seeds, you're going to sprinkle water over the ones that are already in the ground. You're going to show, say some beautiful words, kind of share your love. And then you're going to go about your day because your field doesn't need babysitting. That's what the algorithm's for. In this case, the algorithm works for you. When you join the Intuitive Writers Guild, that's one of the first things you get access to. It's a 5-day program where I help you change how you feel about the algorithm. Because I think so many people are like, ugh, it hates me. Ugh, it keeps changing. Now I have to figure out this new way to get people to see my stuff. Ugh, it just makes it so much harder. The algorithm is your best teammate. And you don't need to micromanage the algorithm. If you create from the heart, in the frequency of love, abundance, and just full expression, your message will get where it needs to be. Your audience will grow. You don't need to figure anything out. I don't have a strategy other than joy. I create because it brings me happiness. It's fun. And because I create a lot, sometimes it hits. Great. I would love to have thousands of people in the guild and be surrounded by people who are making waves in this world. I would absolutely love that. I think one of the things that happens as we get older is it's harder to make friends. And then especially if you take a leap like I recently did, where you leave a corporate space where you've been talking to the same 10 to 15 people 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Then you go to be an entrepreneur and suddenly you're on this island. For the same reason that I went back to corporate America, I wanted to be around people who were already doing or in the process of doing what I wanted to be doing. And this is the community for that for you. You're going to see what's working for people. You're going to share your wins. You're going to let us clap for you because you showed up today, even though when you first woke up, you thought, I just don't know if I feel like it. We're here to support each other, to help each other, to grow through this. And it's not going to be perfect. In fact, I don't want it to be perfect because art that's perfection is boring. You don't innovate, you don't create, you don't learn by aiming for perfection. It's experimentation, it's trial and error. You take the pressure off until you find your voice. And trust me, I get it. You're like, yeah, but I'm really uncomfortable on camera. I got you. There are a million different ways to show up online that don't require your face. Yeah, it's helpful, but not required. So in addition to moving through some mindset and perspective shifts, we're going to do nervous system work. We're going to do some tools, like how are we actually creating content? This is really going to be a program that's going to bring out the best in you and help you build momentum online in a way that makes you want to show up rather than feeling like you're showing up out of obligation. And so if this is something that you're ready for, I'm going to include a link in the show notes for you to join the Intuitive Writers Guild. On June 1st, we're starting the Content Vortex. You're welcome to join at any point in time. If you join before the 1st, I highly recommend checking out Algorithm Loves You. Like I said, it's a 5-day experience, but it's open, available. You could move through it at whatever pace feels right for you. But on the 1st, we're going to start. I'm going to teach you my signature framework for how I tap into my intuition and create content from the heart, from the joy of it, from the experience of my fullest expression. I'm going to teach you the framework for that. And then each day you're going to get daily drops and an opportunity to check in with the community and celebrate your wins from the day. Because it's hard to understand and even describe until you've been in it. But when you're in a community with people who are doing something that you want to be doing, your whole energy around it just shifts. You see other people winning, and by celebrating them, you feel yourself celebrating yourself, and you realize, oh, she called that a win. I had that too. Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, so I've got more wins than I realized. And all those times that your mind tries to say it's not working, suddenly you have an evidence list a mile long that says, in fact, it is. So I invite you to come and join. I invite you to bring a friend, maybe bring a couple. Share this with somebody who's building a business, writing a book, doing something that is an expression of themselves, who would benefit from having an audience. To be completely honest, I think that's most of us. Come join us. Again, we start June 1st. If you're hearing this after June 1st, just know that the audio drops, everything is going to be in the community, so you can join and start at any time. If it's the end of June and you're like, I missed this. Nope, came at just the right time for you to participate. This is a community because I know that showing up consistently requires effort at the beginning. You're changing a habit. You're creating a new way of being. And that doesn't happen with just one flick of the switch. I can give you tools to help that happen, but the showing up day in, day out, over and over and over again takes it takes time to build that muscle. And so this is what we're doing for June. We'll see what comes through for July, but this is meant to be something that's going to build and grow, because as you build and you grow, we want to walk together. So I hope you come and join me. And if not, I hope you have a ton of fun creating online or creating whatever feels right for you in whatever way feels right for you. And just remember that joy gets to be a strategy. Thank you for listening to the Lightworker Diaries. If something stirred in you today, take a breath and let it land. To go deeper, you can subscribe to the written diaries on Substack. You'll find a link in the show notes. Until next time, be true to you.